we desire a sexual relationship. We are horn dogs. We want a romantic, loving relationship with somebody. And listen, I understand that a relationship is not all about sex.
Wow, guys, can you believe it? We're already over 20 episodes into Nick Speaks, but here's the truth. I couldn't have done it alone. The amazing team at Goodnight Podcasting Solutions has been with me every step of the way, from those early strategy sessions all the way to editing, promotion, and even helping me land guests. They've made it so all I have to do is show up, record, and focus on delivering the message. Kyle at Goodnight Podcasting Solutions tailors everything to your unique needs and is so creative to give you what you're looking for. But one thing's for sure, he gives 110% to help you create an incredible podcast. So if you've ever thought about starting your own podcast, now's the time. Hit the link in the show notes, set up a strategy session with Kyle, and get ready to take your podcast to the next level. Trust me, you won't regret it.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's installment of the Nick Speaks podcast, the podcast dedicated to the disabled community, where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud about the matters and issues that matter to the disabled the most. I'm your host, Nicholas Comstock. You guys, it is frigid cold out here in the Midwest and in the East Coast of the country. So if you're anywhere in that area, I hope to God that you're staying warm, because it is frigid cold out here where I am in Columbus, Ohio, and in the East Coast and Midwest parts of the country. So please stay warm. You guys, at the top of the show, I want to say right from the beginning that if you have young ears with you who usually listen to this podcast or usually watch this podcast, today may be an episode for them to skip, because I'm going to be talking about a very sensitive topic as it pertains to adults with disabilities. So if you have any young ones around you right now, now would be the time to turn off this podcast and listen to it later when you're by yourself, watch it later when you're by yourself, and have the young ones skip out on this one if they're used to listening and watching me. Okay. Now that that's been said, the topic that I want to talk about today is the desire for people with disabilities to have a romantic, sexual, loving relationship with another person. And a lot of able-bodied people believe and think that there is no way possible that someone with a disability like myself would want to have a romantic sexual relationship with someone. In some cases, able-bodied people look at disabled folks as not a sexual being whatsoever. They don't think we want anything to do with anything sexual at all. And I can tell you, as a person with a physical disability, nothing could be further from the truth. I think about sex all the time. I've had trouble watching adult content, you know, because of my Christian faith. Of course, watching adult content is wrong where you come from in the Christian faith, how I grew up. And most Christians, I think would be fair to say, maybe not in today's world, but the Christians that I grew up with would tell you that watching adult content is wrong. And it is, but it's something that I have struggled with to help fulfill the sexual desires that I have. And like I said, A lot of able-bodied people do not believe that people with disabilities have this desire. I am here to tell you that disabled people, a lot of us are horn dogs, and it's all we think about. We do things to ourselves just like people without disabilities do things to themselves. Um, and it is something that is on our mind a lot. And I can tell you from personal experience, having a romantic relationship is constantly on my mind. Wanting to have a physical sexual relationship with somebody is constantly on my mind. You say, Nick, I'm a Christian, you're a Christian. I don't think you should be talking about this. Where do you think little Christians came from? Where do you think they come from? Mommy and daddy had to put the Bible down for at least 5 minutes to get freaky so that you can be here. Okay. Okay. So now that we got that settled, we can get that out of the way. Uh, and I said 5 minutes for some, and maybe less than 5 minutes. But anyway, that's how you got here. Um, so yeah, his sex is something that I think about all the time, and I have enjoyed it. Um, Maybe in a wrong way, but I have enjoyed it nonetheless. And the biggest thing when it comes to people with disabilities is when people that are not disabled look at us and say, oh, you're looking for a caregiver or a nurse to take care of you so you can have intimate time during your sponge bath or during your shower. Well, I'm not going to lie to you. If it leads that way, I'm not going to stop. But I am not looking for a caregiver uh, to marry me or a nurse to marry me just so that we can turn shower time into naughty time. They don't need to be a caregiver or a nurse for that to happen. Um, I've had people say to me, Nick, does this mean because you're in a wheelchair you have to marry somebody who's blind? I had somebody say that to me one time, and I wanted to be like, no, but it's obvious it's obvious your spouse married a retard. Oh, because who would say something like that? Nick, does this mean because you're in a wheelchair you have to marry somebody who's blind? That is the biggest misconception. Also, when it comes to people with disabilities and wanting romantic partners, is that we are going to want someone or we already have someone who is disabled that we're romantic with in our lives. I remember when I first told somebody that I was dating, um, now my ex-boyfriend. I remember when I first told somebody that I was dating him, uh, the first question they asked was, is he in a wheelchair too, or is he disabled too? Something to that nature. And I'm like, why does the person always have to have a disability or some sort of handicap in order for me to be dating? Because that's just not the case. And to be honest, I don't want somebody who is in my position because I want them to be able to throw me around and pick me up like a sack of potatoes and have a good time. Also, if two people are dating that are in wheelchairs and one constantly needs physical help, I don't know how that would work out. I'm sure God can make it work out. I'm just not sure how that would be feasibly possible. Um, Another thing is, I was told growing up that because of my physical disability, that there would be no one out there who would want to marry someone like me. Because of the fact that I'm in a wheelchair and I need brief changes and all that stuff. At the same time, this family member who told me this lunacy said that they pray every day that I find the most beautiful wife, more beautiful than all my brothers. Um, and I'm just like, well, how can you say that you're going to pray for something if you're already convinced that it's not going to happen? Because your prayer is going up to God with no faith. And without faith, it's impossible to please him. Hebrews 11:6. Don't get me started preaching up in here. I'm just pulling out facts, okay? Um, so anyway, so it had a lot, so I've had a lot of self-doubt as to whether or not I'm going to get married because I have so many physical needs. Um, I I don't want my future spouse to become my full-time caregiver. That is not my plan. My future spouse will not be my full-time caregiver. They will be my caregiver when a caregiver is not around, but they will not be my caregiver full time. Also, I want to say that you know, I've been worried about having, you know, someone beautiful and gorgeous having to take care of my grief as if I am a child. Am I going to have somebody that's going to want to wipe my butt uh, anytime I have a bowel movement? Or, if we're in the middle of freaky deaky time and I fart in their face, those type of things. So I have those concerns, but I very much so want a romantic relationship and I desire a romantic relationship. Now, I will say this: I do not want somebody to be in a romantic relationship with me because I am in a wheelchair and it's a fetish for them. If I'm a fetish for you, I don't want to be in a relationship with you because I'm a fetish. I want to be in a relationship with you because you think that I'm a wonderful, awesome person and you can't see yourself without. But if you're only in a relationship with someone with a disability because they're a fetish for you and that's what you watch on adult content, you're sick and you need help. Um, that's what I'll say about that. I have many concerns of, someone cheating on me because being with someone with a disability is incredibly difficult. Um, there's lots of talk about how a man should please a woman in the bedroom. And if the man can't please a woman in these ways by stimulating a certain body part, then they're not a man. And a woman, we've made size of a man's body part matter too much in society. So if a man does not have a certain size on his body part, then he must not be manly. If if a man cannot help a woman achieve the big O, then he must not be manly. And I feel like we have put sexual emphasis way too much on whether or not a relationship will work out. Now, is sex a major part of a relationship? Yes, it is. It is a major part of a relationship. And if someone's out there listening to me right now and we end up dating, you and I are gonna have a lot of sex. Okay. I'm very touchy. I'm very wanting to grab and kiss, hug, and do the Monica Lewinsky special, have the Monica Lewinsky special done to me, or should I say the Oval Office special? Um, yeah. So, if you're not huggy and touchy and kissy and wanting to be all over me, then you and I are probably not going to work out very well. Now, I will say, I don't like over expressions of PDA, public display of affection. Like, if we're around family, I don't want you trying to hump me in the middle being around family. Okay. I just think that's, you can kiss me on the lips and that's fine. But I am not going to be trying to hop on top of you while we're around your family or my family. My family's a little bit crazy, so we'll probably be around your family a little bit more. But anyway, yeah, public display of affection in front of family members and other people, I don't like. Save all that for the bedroom. And oh, by the way, if my lover happens to see some dingleberries in my butt while we're having sex, that's my caregiver's fault. Just clean up and we'll go on. But really, my biggest concern is finding somebody who wants a guy like me, who wants a guy that may not be able to physically please her like another guy without a physical disability. Um, I want I want somebody to want me, and I want somebody to look past the can Nick please me in the bedroom. Can you know? Uh, and somebody said to me, maybe you'll find, somebody said this to me before, maybe you'll find somebody who's more interested in giving pleasure than receiving pleasure. And that could be very possible. Um, but I also would feel like that I would be not holding up my end of the bargain, because you have, uh, my spouse would have sexual needs too. Would I allow them to go out and cheat on me to fulfill those sexual needs that I can't? Absolutely not. Because once we say I do, you're stuck with me for life, Barbara. Uh, if your name is going to be Barbara and you're going to be my partner, you're probably going to be 70 years old. That's probably not a good name, but I just thought I would throw that out there. Uh, but so, yeah, people with disabilities like myself are horn dogs. And I've said this to one of my friends who is disabled. You know, one of the best parts about being disabled and having sex is that we just get to lay there and enjoy it. And our partner has to do the rest of the work. uh, um, oh God, I hope Apple and Spotify and YouTube don't kick me off. But I used to watch this show on Oxygen several years ago. It was called Oxygen After Dark. And my uh, relatives used to have cable, and there was some time growing up that I did not have cable. Well, my relatives that we went to see every summer did have cable. So for several hours on a Sunday night, there used to be this show on Oxygen After Dark called Let's Talk Sex with Sue Johansson. And I would eat that show up. I would just listen to all the calls that would come in and do it. One guy called in, and I'll be careful with this, but one guy called in and said, "Hi, Sue. My girlfriend would like to know why my kahunas smell like tacos." I just thought that was so hilarious. It was like, wow, a guy's kahunas smelling like tacos. That's awesome. Because tacos is one of my favorite food. I don't know if I'd want my kahunas to smell like that, but yeah. But I mean, she would just have all kinds of weird calls, and I remember one guy called in and said, Stu, I want you to know, I want to find out if what me and my partner are doing is safe. And that is, uh, we would take Icy Hot. Icy Hot was real popular in the 90s and early 2000s. He said the guy said we would take Icy Hot and put it on the parts of our body that were used for, adult purposes. And then we would see who would finish first. Is this dangerous? And Sue was like, yes, that's very dangerous. I wouldn't do that. Oh, man. The Sunday nights at my relative's house watching Let's Talk Sex were some of the best years of my life. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, I really do. And I'm surprised that I have not gotten into like writing romantic novels because I'm such a sexual person. I probably won't just because of my Christian faith, and people would look at getting a romantic novel from a Christian as smut. You should write that smut. You should listen to that smut. You're a Christian. Have you read Song of Solomon? Um. Anyway, so yeah, but people with disabilities are so, we really do. We desire a sexual relationship. We are horn dogs. We want a romantic, loving relationship with somebody. And listen, I understand that a relationship is not all about sex, but it is a huge part of it to keep the relationship intact. And let me tell you, if you're out there listening or watching me and we get into a relationship and you tell me, I only want to have sex once a month or once a year, it's not going to work out. And I don't understand couples who let the romance die in their marriages. I just, well, we had 4 kids and I'm just so your kids, I mean, you married the guy you thought he was, lovely and hot, and you couldn't wait to get into bed with him, and then all of a sudden you have 4 kids and all that dies. Like, you got to figure out ways to keep the spice going. But I'll leave the marriage counseling to the marriage experts. I'm not married. I'm out here looking to get laid, to be honest. So but yeah, couples, don't allow your romance to die in your marriage. I mean, you say, well, there's physical reasons I can't have sexual activity with my wife. Okay. Or with your spouse or with your husband. Okay. Well, you can kiss them on the forehead a bunch or kiss them on the lips. You may not be able to go all the way, but don't let that, don't let that passion, don't let that romance die. You know, do whatever you have to keep it alive. And another thing I don't understand about able-bodied couples is that a lot of them, I could never imagine cheating on somebody I say I love. I could never imagine doing that because number one, I grew up being told that I would never have a spouse. And then if I do have a spouse, I'm going to ruin that by going out and cheating on them, or they're going to cheat on me because I couldn't please them in the bedroom, or having somebody with a disability in your life as a spouse is too stressful. You want them to, you want to go out and get away from them for a while. I couldn't imagine doing that to my spouse. to somebody that I say, I'm going to love and cherish you until the day we die. I can't imagine going out and cheating on them and wanting to be with somebody else. You know, I'll tell you, I'm 34 years old. I'm going to be 35 on March 24th. And, you know, I'm human. I could mess up. We all mess up. But if I get to the point where I get married to a beautiful soul, a beautiful chocolate lady, that's what I'm into. Um, can't imagine, can't imagine going out and cheating on her. I and just I couldn't fathom me. Well, you say, Nick, what if she gets in a position where she can't physically uh, please you? That doesn't matter. You know, we would cross that bridge when we come to it, but I certainly wouldn't go out and cheat on somebody just because they couldn't physically please me anymore and I have needs. That's what God is there for, in my opinion. Now, I know you are going to say, well, then if God is there, why are you pleasuring yourself? Well, like I said, I'm human and I do mess up, and that is something that I'm working on. But this whole episode today was centered around saying to the able-bodied world, hey, disabled-bodied people think about sex probably as much as you do, and if not probably as much as you do, probably more than you do, and we want it just as bad, if not more than you do. And don't look at people with disabilities as fetish, because I know from my standpoint, if you're dating me simply because you have a fetish, ooh, I would like to see you in your briefs, or I would like to put on a brief just like you, and you know, and we could pretend like I just got done changing you or you're changing me. No, first of all, that's disgusting. Okay, I mean everybody has their own things, but me, that's disgusting. And if you're interested in me or into me because I'm a fetish to you, please get away from me. Please. Just honestly. Because it's not going to work if I'm a fetish. But it is going to work if you say, it doesn't matter what your disability is. It doesn't matter if you can please me the way I think I deserve to be pleased in the bedroom. I'm here because I think you're sexy as AF, and I love you. Now, if you're willing to be in that type of relationship with me, I'm willing to give it a chance. And I like them thick, by the way, thick and chocolate. So yeah. But yeah, this episode was to educate people who think that the disabled do not have a desire for romance of any kind, or that we don't want to have sex. This was, uh, this episode was a long time coming. I just wasn't sure how I was going to word everything. And I certainly hope that Apple, Spotify, and YouTube will not kick me off for what I said. I tried to be as gentle as I possibly could. I've heard worse than what I've said on YouTube as it pertains to sexual content. So I hope they'll be generous, but I really hope that this opens some eyes, uh, especially in the able-bodied community, that there are tons of disabled people waiting on love. And you know what? You may just be the person for them, but because you've said, ew, I don't want to take care of someone with a disability, or I don't want that responsibility. It's like having another caregiver. because you have said that and not given a person with a disability a chance, you may be missing out on the love of your life. And I want to put that out there for non-disabled people. Give disabled people a chance as it pertains to love, because I believe disabled people have a love that someone without a disability doesn't have. And because we want it so bad and we desire it so bad, I believe we will give you the best love that you've ever known. We may not be the best kissers, but we will give you the best love that you've ever known outside of the kissing. The kissing, you may have to help us on a little bit. I know I needed some help. I still need some help, but I hope this episode also made you laugh a little bit along the way, because that's my intention here with Nick Speaks, is not only to educate, but to make you laugh a little bit, have fun in your day, especially with it being so dang cold out there. So yeah, I hope this episode was an encouragement. I hope it will spark a conversation between the able-bodied and the disabled community about romance, love, the desire for sex. I hope this normalizes people with disabilities and sex. Don't ask me down in my comments how I have sex. I'll let your imagination go there, but yeah, I hope this opens up a conversation uh, when it pertains to disabled people and romance and the desire to have a relationship, because there are thousands of people out there who desire romance and who want a fulfilling sexual romantic relationship. So I hope this opens a lot of eyes. I will see you guys next week. Remember, you can email me at nextspeaksofficial@gmail.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe. As of this recording, we are finally at 550 subscribers. If you have not subscribed on YouTube, please do so. Also, you can follow me on Apple Podcast and Spotify, as well as my YouTube channel. Remember, this is the Nick Speaks podcast, the podcast dedicated to the disabled, where we speak up, speak out, and speak loud about the issues that matter to the disabled the most. I am your host, Nicholas Comstock, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.